One of the most profound paradoxes of manifestation and success is that those who need something the least tend to have the most of it, whilst those who need it most have it the least. This isn't just a cruel twist of fate or some cosmic joke. It's a fundamental principle of how the universe operates and how our psychology influences our reality. The most successful people, the wealthiest individuals, and those who seem to effortlessly attract opportunities all share one common trait. They operate from a state of non-attachment and abundance rather than need and desperation. Today, we're going to explore the psychology of detachment and why it's the key to manifestation. This isn't about becoming emotionally numb or uncaring about your goals. Instead, it's about understanding how the energy of need actually repels what you want, whilst the energy of detachment and abundance magnetizes it towards you. As always, the wise man learns from everything and everyone, whereas the fool has all the answers. The principle, needing nothing attracts everything, isn't just a spiritual platitude. It's a psychological reality that can be observed and understood through various lenses of human behavior and mental conditioning. When you understand why detachment is so powerful and how to cultivate it authentically, you unlock the ability to manifest your desires from a place of power rather than desperation, abundance rather than scarcity, and confidence rather than fear. The psychology of need and scarcity. To understand why detachment is so powerful for manifestation, we first need to understand what happens psychologically when we operate from a place of need. When you need something desperately, whether it's money, love, recognition, or success, you're operating from what psychologists call a scarcity mindset. This mindset creates a particular energetic frequency that actually repels the very thing you're trying to attract. Think about it from a practical perspective. When you desperately need money, what energy do you project? You become clingy, desperate, and willing to accept less than your worth. Potential employers, clients, or business partners can sense this desperation, and it makes you less attractive to them. Nobody wants to do business with someone who reeks of need because it suggests that person lacks options, confidence, and value. The same principle applies to relationships. The person who desperately needs to be in a relationship often comes across as needy, clingy, and unattractive. They're willing to compromise their standards, tolerate poor treatment, and project an energy of lack that repels healthy partners. Conversely, the person who is content with themselves and doesn't need a relationship to feel complete becomes magnetic to others. This psychological phenomenon occurs because need creates what researchers call attachment anxiety. When you're attached to a specific outcome, your nervous system becomes hypervigilant about threats to that outcome. You start to operate from fear rather than confidence, scarcity rather than abundance. This fear-based energy is palpable to others and creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where your desperation actually prevents you from receiving what you want. From a neurological perspective, operating from need activates your brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, which puts you in a state of stress and contraction. When you're in this state, your creativity diminishes, your decision-making becomes impaired, and you become less attractive to opportunities and people. You literally think and behave in ways that sabotage your own success. The irony is that the more desperately you need something, the more likely you are to engage in behaviors that push it away. You might accept terrible job offers because you need money, which keeps you stuck in cycles of financial struggle. You might stay in toxic relationships because you need love, which prevents you from finding healthy love. You might make poor business decisions because you need success quickly, which actually delays your success. This is why Jesus said in Matthew 6:26, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" This isn't about being passive or irresponsible. It's about understanding that when you operate from trust and abundance rather than fear and need, you align yourself with the natural flow of provision that surrounds us. The psychology of need also creates what psychologists call tunnel vision. When you desperately need something, you become so focused on that one thing that you miss other opportunities and possibilities that might be even better. You become rigid in your thinking and closed off to alternatives that the universe might be trying to provide. This tunnel vision actually limits your manifestation abilities because you're only open to receiving what you think you need rather than what might be best for you. Furthermore, operating from need creates resistance in your nervous system. You're simultaneously wanting something whilst fearing you won't get it. This internal conflict creates what quantum physicists might call energetic static that interferes with your ability to maintain the clear, focused intention necessary for manifestation. You're sending mixed signals to the universe. I want this combined with, I'm afraid I won't get it, which creates confusion and delays in your manifestations. The energetic frequency of abundance. When you operate from a place of non-attachment and abundance, you project an entirely different energetic frequency. Instead of the contractive, desperate energy of need, you emanate the expansive, confident energy of someone who has options, who knows their worth, and who trusts that everything will work out for their highest good. This abundance mindset isn't about pretending you have things you don't have or lying to yourself about your circumstances. Instead, it's about recognizing that abundance is your natural state and that scarcity is simply a temporary condition created by limiting beliefs and fear-based thinking. When you understand that the universe is inherently abundant, that there are billions of people, trillions of pounds, infinite opportunities, you stop operating from a place of competition and start operating from a place of collaboration with life itself. People who have mastered the psychology of abundance understand what Jesus meant in John 10:10 when he said, "I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly." Abundance isn't just about material wealth. It's a way of being that recognizes the infinite creative potential that exists within you and around you at all times. When you operate from abundance, you make decisions from a place of power rather than desperation. You're willing to walk away from opportunities that don't align with your values because you trust that better opportunities will come. This willingness to walk away actually makes you more attractive to people and opportunities because it demonstrates that you have standards, self-respect, and confidence in your ability to create what you want. The energetic frequency of abundance also allows you to be genuinely generous with others. When you're not operating from scarcity, you can celebrate other people's success without feeling threatened. You can share opportunities, knowledge, and resources freely because you know there's more than enough for everyone. This generosity creates positive karma that comes back to you, multiplied. From a quantum physics perspective, everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. When you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, characterized by gratitude, confidence, generosity, and trust, you attract experiences and circumstances that match that frequency. Not just metaphysically, but practically. Abundant people are drawn to other abundant people. Successful people want to work with other successful people. Opportunities flow towards those who emanate the energy of someone who can handle more. This is why the Bible says in Matthew 25:29, "For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them." This isn't about unfairness. It's about the psychological and energetic reality that abundance attracts more abundance, while scarcity attracts more scarcity. The abundance frequency also allows you to receive more easily. When you're operating from need, you often have subconscious blocks to receiving because part of you doesn't believe you deserve what you want, or fears that receiving will create obligation or loss of independence. When you operate from abundance, receiving becomes natural because you understand that you're simply participating in the natural flow of give and take that governs the universe. People operating from abundance also tend to have what psychologists call delayed gratification tolerance. They're willing to pass up immediate, smaller rewards in favor of larger, long-term benefits because they trust their ability to create what they want over time. This patience and strategic thinking actually accelerates their manifestations because they're not settling for less than what they truly want. The paradox of letting go. The most challenging aspect of manifestation for most people is understanding the paradox of letting go. You must care enough about your goals to take inspired action towards them. But you must also be willing to let go of attachment to specific outcomes and timing. This isn't spiritual bypassing or passive resignation. It's an advanced manifestation technique that allows you to maintain clear intention whilst avoiding the resistance that comes from attachment. Letting go doesn't mean you stop wanting what you want, or that you become indifferent to outcomes. Instead, it means you release your death grip on exactly how and when your desires will manifest. You maintain your vision and take inspired action, but you hold your expectations lightly and remain open to receiving your desires in forms and timing that might be even better than what you originally envisioned. This paradox is beautifully illustrated in the story of Abraham in the Bible. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, but Abraham had to wait decades for this promise to be fulfilled, and it manifested in ways he never could have imagined. Abraham's faith wasn't passive waiting. It was active trust combined with willingness to let go of his own limited understanding of how the promise would be fulfilled. The psychology behind letting go is that attachment creates resistance, and resistance slows down or blocks manifestation. When you're attached to a specific outcome, you're operating from the assumption that you know exactly what's best for you and exactly how it should happen. This limits the universe's ability to deliver something even better than what you're imagining. Furthermore, attachment keeps you focused on what you don't have rather than what you do have. When you're constantly checking to see if your manifestation has arrived yet, you're reinforcing the experience of lack rather than abundance. You're sending the message to your subconscious mind that what you want is separate from you and difficult to attain, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Letting go also protects you from the emotional roller coaster that comes with attachment. When you're attached to outcomes, every delay or apparent setback triggers anxiety, frustration, and doubt. These negative emotions not only make the manifestation process miserable, but also lower your vibration and interfere with your ability to receive what you want. As Jesus said in Luke 9:24, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it." In the context of manifestation, this means that whoever tries to control and force their desires will struggle to receive them, but whoever is willing to surrender their attachment whilst maintaining their vision will receive abundantly. The practice of letting go also develops what Buddhists call equanimity, the ability to remain balanced and centered regardless of external circumstances. When you've developed equanimity, you're not thrown off balance by temporary setbacks or delays, because you understand that manifestation is a process, not an event. You trust the timing of your life and know that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when you can't see the bigger picture. Letting go doesn't mean becoming passive or stopping your efforts. Instead, it means shifting from effortful striving to inspired action. When you're attached, your actions come from desperation and force. When you've let go, your actions come from inspiration and flow. You still work towards your goals, but the work feels easier and more natural because you're aligned with the current of life rather than swimming against it. The manifestation process. Through non-attachment. Understanding the manifestation process through the lens of non-attachment requires recognizing that manifestation isn't about getting something you don't have. It's about aligning with something that already exists in the quantum field of infinite possibilities. Every possible version of your life already exists energetically. Manifestation is simply the process of collapsing one of those possibilities into your physical reality. When you operate from attachment and need, you're trying to force a specific possibility into existence through willpower and desperation. This creates resistance because you're operating from the assumption that what you want doesn't exist yet and might not be available to you. When you operate from non-attachment, you're simply aligning your frequency with the possibility you prefer and allowing it to manifest naturally. The first step in this process is what quantum physicists might call quantum superposition, the ability to exist in multiple possible states simultaneously. In practical terms, this means being able to feel and embody the energy of your desired reality, whilst also being completely okay with your current reality. You're not trying to escape where you are, you're simply choosing to align with where you want to be. This requires developing what psychologists call Cognitive flexibility, the ability to hold multiple perspectives simultaneously without needing to collapse them into a single truth. You can simultaneously want financial abundance and be grateful for what you have now. You can desire a loving relationship whilst also enjoying your independence. You can envision career success whilst appreciating your current learning opportunities. The manifestation process through non-attachment also involves what spiritual teachers call acting as if. This doesn't mean pretending you have things you don't have or lying to yourself about your circumstances. Instead, it means embodying the feelings, thoughts, and behaviors of the person who already has what you want. You think, feel, and act from abundance whilst remaining detached from when and how your external reality will shift to match your internal state. This internal shift is crucial because your external reality is always a reflection of your internal state. When you consistently think, feel, and act from abundance, your external circumstances must eventually align to match that frequency. It's not magic, it's psychology. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results. The timeline of manifestation through non-attachment is often much faster than manifestation through attachment because there's no resistance slowing down the process. When you're not desperate for something to happen by a certain time, you're not creating energetic friction that delays the manifestation. You're in flow with the natural timing of your life, which allows things to unfold more easily and gracefully. As it says in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven." Understanding divine timing is a crucial aspect of non-attached manifestation. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually perfect timing because you needed to develop certain skills, meet certain people, or clear certain blocks before you were ready to receive what you want. Non-attached manifestation also allows for what you might call manifestation upgrades. When you're not rigidly attached to exactly how your desires must manifest, the universe can deliver something even better than what you originally envisioned. You might think you want a specific job, but through non-attachment, you remain open to an even better opportunity that you never would have considered. The process also involves developing trust in what some call divine intelligence or universal wisdom. This doesn't require religious belief, but it does require recognizing that there's an intelligence operating in the universe that's far greater than your individual mind. When you align with this intelligence through non-attachment, you tap into a creative power that can orchestrate circumstances and synchronicities that your individual mind could never plan or control. The practical application of detachment. Implementing the psychology of detachment in your daily life requires specific practices and mindset shifts that help you embody non-attachment while still maintaining clear intentions and taking inspired action. This isn't about becoming emotionally numb or spiritually bypassing your human desires. Instead, it's about developing a sophisticated relationship with your goals that allows you to pursue them powerfully whilst holding them lightly. The first practical application is developing what you might call outcome independence. This means pursuing your goals with full commitment whilst being genuinely okay with any outcome. You give your best effort, make intelligent decisions, and take consistent action, but you don't make your peace, happiness, or self-worth dependent on achieving specific results by specific times. This outcome independence requires regular practice of gratitude for what you already have. It's impossible to feel truly abundant if you're constantly focused on what's missing from your life. Daily gratitude practices help shift your attention from scarcity to abundance, from lack to appreciation. When you consistently appreciate what you have, you create the energetic foundation for receiving more. Another crucial practice is developing what psychologists call cognitive reframing. This involves consistently interpreting events in ways that support your abundance mindset rather than your scarcity mindset. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of seeing it as evidence that manifestation doesn't work, you reframe it as the universe protecting you from something that wasn't aligned with your highest good or redirecting you towards something better. The practice of detachment also involves regular meditation or mindfulness practices that help you observe your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. When you can witness your attachment, desperation, or fear without being swept away by these emotions, you can choose to return to a state of trust and abundance. This emotional regulation is crucial for maintaining the energetic frequency necessary for manifestation. Detachment also requires what you might call identity work. Most people's sense of self is built around their problems, struggles, and limitations. To embody abundance, you must shift your identity from someone who needs and lacks to someone who has and creates. This doesn't mean denying current challenges, but it does mean not making those challenges central to who you are. As Jesus said in Mark 11:24, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours." This is perhaps the most practical instruction for manifestation through detachment. You ask for what you want, then you shift into the emotional and mental state of already having received it, whilst remaining detached from when and how it will appear in your physical reality. The practice of detachment also involves what spiritual teachers call surrendering to the flow. This means paying attention to the natural currents of your life and working with them rather than against them. Sometimes the universe is trying to move you in a different direction than you originally planned, and attachment to your original plan can prevent you from receiving something even better. Practically, this might mean being willing to change course when doors consistently close, or when new opportunities arise that feel aligned but weren't part of your original plan. It means trusting your intuition and inner guidance even when it doesn't make logical sense to your rational mind. Detachment also requires developing what you might call abundance activities, regular practices that help you embody the feeling of abundance regardless of your current circumstances. This might include giving generously to others, investing in your personal development, treating yourself with kindness and respect, or simply appreciating beauty in your daily life. These activities aren't about pretending you have more than you do. They're about recognizing that abundance is a state of being, rather than a specific amount of money or possessions. When you regularly engage in activities that make you feel abundant, you train your nervous system to operate from abundance rather than scarcity. The neuroscience of non-attachment. From a neuroscientific perspective, the practice of non-attachment creates measurable changes in your brain that support manifestation and success. When you operate from attachment and desperation, you activate your brain's stress response system, which includes the amygdala, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and the sympathetic nervous system. This stress response system is designed for survival, not for creativity, manifestation, or higher-level thinking. When your stress response system is chronically activated by attachment and fear, several things happen that interfere with manifestation. First, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for executive function, creativity, and long-term planning, goes offline. This makes it difficult to think strategically, recognize opportunities, or come up with innovative solutions to challenges. Second, chronic stress suppresses your immune system and disrupts your sleep, which affects your overall energy and vitality. When you're tired, stressed, and unhealthy, you're less likely to take inspired action or maintain the positive emotional state necessary for manifestation. Third, the stress response system creates what neuroscientists call negativity bias, a tendency to focus on threats and problems rather than opportunities and possibilities. This negativity bias makes it difficult to maintain the positive focus necessary for manifestation because your brain is constantly scanning for what could go wrong. In contrast, when you practice non-attachment, you activate what neuroscientists call the relaxation response, or the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your body's natural state of rest, digest, and restore. When your parasympathetic nervous system is active, your prefrontal cortex comes online, your creativity increases, and your ability to see opportunities and solutions dramatically improves. Non-attachment also increases activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, which is associated with emotional regulation, empathy, and the ability to hold multiple perspectives simultaneously. This neurological flexibility allows you to maintain your vision whilst remaining open to different ways of achieving it. Research has also shown that practices associated with non-attachment, such as meditation and mindfulness, increase gray matter in areas of the brain associated with learning, memory, and emotional regulation, whilst decreasing gray matter in the amygdala, which is associated with fear and stress. These structural changes in the brain create lasting improvements in your ability to maintain emotional balance and clarity, even in challenging circumstances. The neuroscience of non-attachment also explains why gratitude is so powerful for manifestation. When you feel grateful, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters associated with pleasure, motivation, and well-being. These positive neurotransmitters not only make you feel better, but also prime your brain to notice more things to be grateful for, creating a positive feedback loop. Furthermore, gratitude activates the parasympathetic nervous system and increases heart rate variability, which is associated with resilience, emotional regulation, and overall health. When your nervous system is in this optimal state, you're more likely to take inspired action, recognize opportunities, and maintain the positive emotional state necessary for manifestation. The practice of non-attachment also involves what neuroscientists call cognitive reappraisal, the ability to consciously change how you interpret events and circumstances. This cognitive flexibility allows you to maintain an abundance mindset even when facing temporary challenges, because you can reframe setbacks as opportunities for growth or redirection, rather than evidence of failure. Brain imaging studies have shown that people who practice cognitive reappraisal have increased activity in the prefrontal cortex and decreased activity in the amygdala when facing stressful situations. This means they're able to think more clearly and creatively whilst experiencing less fear and stress, which creates optimal conditions for manifestation and success. The psychology of detachment reveals one of the most profound truths about manifestation. The less you need something, the more likely you are to receive it. This isn't a cruel, cosmic joke, but a reflection of how energy, psychology, and the universe actually operate. When you can master the art of wanting something without needing it, caring about your goals without being attached to specific outcomes, and taking action from inspiration rather than desperation, you unlock a level of manifestation power that most people never access. The key is understanding that detachment isn't about not caring or becoming passive. It's about caring so much that you're willing to let go of your limited understanding of how and when your desires should manifest in order to allow them to come to you in the perfect way and perfect timing. It's about trusting the intelligence of the universe, whilst taking full responsibility for your own thoughts, emotions, and actions. As it says in Philippians 4:19, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." This isn't about religious belief, it's about recognizing that the universe is inherently abundant, and that scarcity is simply an illusion created by fear-based thinking and attachment. When you embody the psychology of detachment, you become magnetic to opportunities, people, and circumstances that support your highest good. You stop pushing against life and start flowing with it. You stop trying to force outcomes and start allowing them to unfold naturally. You stop operating from lack and start operating from abundance. This shift isn't just philosophical, it's practical. People are drawn to those who operate from abundance and detachment because they emanate a confidence and peace that's rare in our need-driven world. Opportunities flow towards those who don't desperately need them, because desperation repels whilst confidence attracts. The journey of mastering detachment is lifelong, because attachment is a natural human tendency that requires conscious awareness and regular practice to transcend. But even small steps towards non-attachment can create dramatic improvements in your manifestation abilities and overall quality of life. Remember, needing nothing truly does attract everything. Not because the universe rewards indifference, but because non-attachment allows you to align with the abundance that is your natural birthright. When you stop operating from the energy of lack and start operating from the energy of abundance, when you stop trying to get love and start being love, when you stop chasing success and start embodying it, you discover that everything you ever wanted was already available to you. You just had to stop needing it so desperately to allow it in. The wise man learns from everything and everyone, while the fool has all the answers. Learn to hold your desires lightly, pursue your goals powerfully, and trust the process completely. In this space of non-attached action, miracles become natural and manifestation becomes effortless.